Dave Seaman from the Standard Speaker joins us once again. We call it Dave Day. It's one of the best times of the week here on Community NEPA News. Dave, I recently read your piece on George Welsh, former college football coach at Virginia at Navy, was an assistant at Penn State under Joe Paterno, and he's from our area. Was reading all about his time at Coaldale High School. And Dave, I learned so much in these pieces that you do. And I want to start with someone else who played for Coach Welsh, Tim Samick, who's also, he went to West Hazelton High School. I learned about his career, very successful offensive lineman.
Yeah, he played in 1990, Virginia, the first time in school history they got to #1 under Coach Welsh. Tim Samick was a starting offensive lineman on that team, and they went into October. I believe they were like 6-0, 7-0, and it was a showdown ACC between Virginia and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech ends up winning that game by a field goal and goes on to win a share of the national championship. Virginia kind of stumbled down the stretch in that season, but they still made it to the Sugar Bowl that year. That was just one of 3 bowl games that Tim Samick was a part of under Coach Welsh, and it's nice looking back at memories like that. And from what I heard about Coach Welsh too, what a man and an outstanding coach, outstanding football mind, and it's a pleasure to do stories because we do have a treasure trove of talent in this area, going all the way back. I mean, even before Coach Welsh, and he's just another example of that.
Please read Dave's article. It was in the Standard Speaker on Sunday. I really like there was a moment, I think, when Tim got into his first game, he said against like top-ranked Notre Dame, and Coach Welsh said something like, "Here comes the Coal Region kid" or something. So it's these little things, and be proud. We have a lot to be proud of. Speaking of that, Hazelton area wrestling team this year, Dave, we've mentioned it a few times. They are good. They win the Wyoming Valley Conference Team Tournament Championship. Hazelton's had a great program. Eric Schultz did a nice piece in the Standard Speaker about how good the program has been. This might be one of their better teams too. And Coach Keith Maurer said, "Hey, listen, they might not be all the most talented guys we've had, but there's a lot of balance and they're working hard."
Yeah, there's a lot of depth on the team this year. Coach Maurer has definitely rebuilt the program to where you expect them to win almost every year. They're a contender for the district team championship every year. Always some individuals who are getting through the districts and winning district championships, going on to the state tournament. This year is no exception. There's a lot of talent on that team. Shane Noonan's undefeated so far this season. He's won a couple of big tournaments in central Pennsylvania. He won the prestigious tournament at Bethlehem over the holidays, and he's firing on all cylinders right now, and he's looking forward to getting back to the state tournament and doing some damage there. Like any coach, Coach Maurer will take it one meet at a time. They got 2 big ones back to back this week against Coughlin and Pittston area. They're 2 of the perennial contenders in the conference, so they'll be looking forward to that. But big things I think are in store for the Hazelton area wrestling program.
And Coach Maurer's done a very good job during his time at Hazelton area. Did you remember when he started or how long he's been?
He's been a couple stints now. He was the first coach of the Hazelton area wrestling program, and then stepped away for a few years, and then he came back, and he's had some outstanding wrestlers, and go back to the Dave Schaefer, Jay Kotsko days, and all the way up to the current days too, with including Shane Noonan. A lot of outstanding wrestlers, and of course Keith and I go way back because I remember him wrestling in high school and at Penn State University, and watching him wrestle against Iowa when Iowa was the kingpin in college wrestling, and Keith Maurer got an opportunity to wrestle at Rec Hall against Iowa and wrestle for Penn State, and we know how successful Penn State's wrestling program's been.
Yeah, look at that program as well. Dave, let's talk about the NFL playoff and these Eagles. I mean, Nick Foles comes in once. It's crazy, the storyline with Nick Foles. That final drive, Dave, he went 6 for 9, 59 yards. He had the touchdown. I believe that was on a 4th down too. The Eagles had to convert. The Bears come down, and the field goal did get tipped a little bit. They missed, but now the Eagles move on, Dave. They have this storyline going, once again, probably the underdogs. Now they have to take on a Saints team.
Yeah, I mean, they lost by, 41 points, 48-7, I believe the score was. So the Eagles have a lot of points to make up. This is a different Eagles team right now. I mean, they're playing with a little bit of chip on their shoulder like they did last season. The defense is certainly a lot better than it was at the beginning of the season. That's not to say it's going to be easy. In the Dome, it's going to be loud there. The Saints thrive playing in that environment. Drew Brees is an experienced passer in the playoffs too, and he's got a dynamic offense that's been very good all year. One saving grace for Eagle fans, though, is like down the stretch, the Saints have kind of struggled a little bit more offensively. Dallas kind of solved them a little bit. I believe against Carolina, kind of stymied them too, although the Saints had everything clinched by then. They had home field advantage. They have a best record for a reason. It's going to be a tall order for the Eagles, but we learned from watching Eagles last year, you never count out that team.
As you look at that other matchup with the Cowboys and the Rams.
I think the Rams will be favored, but it's not going to be an easy game for the Rams. Rams are coming in, they're flying high. They have 2 successful seasons in a row. But Dallas is a team, even though they haven't played well on the road during the season, they have an outstanding running back in Ezekiel Elliott. They have an outstanding offensive line. they're going to try to play keep away from the Rams. They're going to try to win that game with a ball control, run game, keep the Rams offense off the field. And we don't know the status of Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley's been hurt for the last couple of weeks, knee injury. Although the Rams had everything clinched, he really didn't have to play the last few weeks. Is he going to have some rust? I think that's a key component to that game.
Well, keep reading Dave's work along with Steve Stallone, Eric Schultz, and the Standard Speakers. They cover winter sports all around our area.